All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to a couple of individuals today who are going to be headlining BKFC Philly. And just on the heels of that big KnuckleMania event, this is the first fight night that they're doing in that market, and it goes down on March 21st with quite the intriguing headlining fight as Dustin Pague and Andrew Angelcor knuckle up and toe the line. And great getting to have both of those individuals on Bare Knuckle Bowker today. How are you guys doing so far today?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, no, doing great. Definitely can't complain. I guess like one of the first elements of this that I kind of wanted to touch on just involving Dustin because unfortunately some last minute issues with your opponent's medicals, I believe it was, left you off of that Knucklemania card that I had mentioned. But it seemed like you had a fun time, like they hooked you up with the tickets and etc. Can you kind of talk about that whole kind of experience, just the timeline of, thinking you're going to fight and then just kind of what ended up happening, like more being in attendance and all?
Yeah, I mean that sucked. I was 10 minutes away from the hotel for my arrival. My manager called me. He said, "Hey man, I got some bad news. Your fight's a huge disappointment. Obviously for especially at a, Wells Fargo Center, sold out arena. Um, that was definitely disheartening. But yeah, BKFC made it right. Me and my family got some sweet tickets, got to enjoy the show. But it really hit home when, I'm sitting next to the ring and I'm looking at the stadium packed with people and knowing that I wouldn't be on the card. So it was tough, man. But I'm actually looking forward to my fight with Andrew way more than JD Burns. I think I would have outclassed him. It just would have been, just a paycheck, really. But the fight against Andrew really excites me. He's a much more talented fighter than Burns. So we're going to put on a show, baby. And we're definitely main event quality.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't get Andrew's response to that. What are your thoughts on Dustin's characterization that you're, I guess, a more well-rounded, pedigreed opponent than his prior opponent for Knucklemania, Burns?
Well, I mean, I appreciate it. Definitely appreciate the respect. Likewise, I'm excited for for this matchup for my return fight. It's by the time we get down, it'll be almost a whole year since my last fight. And that kind of sucks that this fight fell through at KnuckleMania because my last fight was I was fortunate enough to fight at the last KnuckleMania in my home state. So I know how awesome the experience was. So it sucks that he didn't get to experience it, but um, I'm excited that we get to put on a show in front of his hometown. I got no problem being the B-side visitor per usual. Four of my five fights were to a choir of boos, so it's the sound I know best. And Yeah, man, I'm excited. What's crazy is when I got the contract, they said Dustin Pague, in Philly, and I had no idea we were the main event. They didn't tell me that. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know we were the main event until I was pulling up to the gym that Tuesday morning, and the BKFC tagged me on Instagram, and it was like, "Take my money, Angelcor and Pague are headlining in Philly." And I was like, "What the hell?" I'm like, nobody told me that. So that was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it seems like that was something that, Dustin also took a level of esteem in as well. Like, how excited are you to be in this headline bout, Dustin? Like, you also seem to be grateful to be in this kind of top of the marquee, high level position, also.
Yeah, I'm very excited, especially being close to my hometown. Philly's not, I wasn't born and raised there, but, I'm a PA boy, so I'm excited to put it on for my home state. And yeah, Andrew's gonna find out. I don't know if he has before, but Philly fans are crazy, man. They might even hate me too, just because I'm not a Philly boy. Like they're wild people. They're a different breed, but it's a small arena, so it's gonna be loud. It's gonna be crazy, and when they see us throw down the fight of the night, it's gonna be wild. So yeah, I'm very excited. The only thing I don't like about main event, the anticipation. You got to wait all night to fight. Like when I get there, I'm ready to throw hands and get to it. But other than that, yeah, very honored and excited to put on a show.
Yeah, and it's just cool. It seems like there's like multiple quick turnarounds in a sense. Like there's a localized quick turnaround for you where your KnuckleMania fight fell out, but it seemed like within a day or two you got this fight set up, and just the fact that the company overall is returning to the market with such a quick turnaround, I guess it really says something about that. I guess like Philadelphia market and the fervor they have for sport and everything like that for sure.
Yeah, and it was funny. I actually found out. I didn't know it was going to be Angelcor, but when I rolled up to the hotel that day, I found out, the day before weigh-ins, the fight was off. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna get you back on, real quick, man. Just hang in there." And then literally, what was it, babe? 10 minutes. They're like, "Hey, you're gonna be main event March 21st. We're back in Philly." I'm like, "Oh, sweet. That's not that far." Or no, they didn't say March 21st. They're like end of March, and I got a little nervous because we leave for vacation, me and my wife, to Mexico, March 22nd. So Ed, don't like mess me
Yeah.
too bad. I'm going to Mexico the next day.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, yeah, no pressure, right? Jackie's like, don't get like seriously hurt, like. But yeah, it was. So I was like, what's the date? Because we got a, paid vacation, and then
Uh,
they get back. They're like March 21st. I'm like, I'll do it. I'm a fight, and then we'll fly out the next day. So I'm excited.
that's
Yeah, I
funny.
was gonna say Andrew.
I'm getting a side eye from my wife now. Now she's like, "You better be nice." That's fun. Yeah.
Why are you taking me to Mexico, babe?
Yeah.
Yeah, just it's such an exciting kind of time, and I'm kind of curious. I don't know if maybe the arena itself would hold any localized interest to both of you lads, but I guess I'm coming from the vantage point of being a bit of a pro wrestling nerd, and the 2300 arena used to be the old ECW arena back in the day. Like, I guess maybe more so for Dustin, but it could also apply to Andrew as well. Like, does that hold any significance to you guys? Were you guys ever like into, wrestling like that, or maybe not so much? It's just like any other venue in a certain regard.
Yeah, I'm not a huge wrestling fan. I mean, you might know him if you're a big fan of the sport. I used to train with Steve Blackman. He was the Lethal Weapon back in the day.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a friend of mine, and so I talked to him, not as much anymore, but yeah, coming up in my MMA career, like back in 2006, I met Steve Blackman. So we've been good friends ever since. And as far as the 2300 arena, I fought there. I don't even remember the promotion. This was back before UFC days. It was probably 2008. I fought Jeff Lentz. We were a main event for a small promotion there, so I'm familiar with the arena, but it's been a long time since I've been there.
Yeah, what about for you, Andrew? Kind of a similar sentiment, you would say, in terms of like the arena holding any particular
I
significance or
mean,
intrigue?
I'm way down here in Southern California, so I have no, I have no idea what to play. I've heard, I looked into it right away. Somebody told me one, as a matter of fact, one of the photographers for the BKFC was like, "Hey man, it's good to see you back. 2300 Arena is historic." So of course I started looking it up, and but I've never been to Philadelphia, so I don't know the significance. But I have heard that the crowd is a rowdy bunch, and I saw the intensity for the Knucklemania build up, so I imagine they're going to be just as excited in a more intimate setting. So I'm excited. I believe the fight night rings are even smaller too. I believe so. I'm excited for everything, man. The opponent, the venue, the ring size. I just want to get a fist fight.
Yeah.
And that's a very interesting point that Andrew mentioned there. Like, Dustin, do you have any thoughts on the, I guess, more compact dimensions of the ring as far as how it could inform the fight? I mean, I think the thing that people think of in that sense is like, oh, it's gonna, force them to, force the issue, etc. Maybe a more offensive centric kind of fight, things of that persuasion. Like, is that anything you give any thought to as far as how it could inform the fight, or not so much?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because they said that the fight nights, the prospect series have the smaller ring. But I was the main event for the Trinidad fight, and it was supposed to be the small ring. I don't know if it was. It didn't seem small. But yeah, obviously a smaller compact ring it's exciting. It makes for exciting fights. You can't run as much, but I love being in the pocket. I love banging with my opponent. And I know Andrew likes that. So those scenarios put on a great show because these boys ain't running. They're staying in the pocket and they're throwing some nasty hands. So I'm looking forward to whatever ring they have. It's going to be great.
And you mentioned Carlos Trinidad Snake. I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't get your thoughts on that upcoming fight with Carlos Trinidad Snake readying to fight for the welterweight title against Austin Trout and everything.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the people that beat you want to see them do well. I say my only loss was Trinidad. Seeing, my first loss was not really a loss in my eyes. If I TKO a guy and just nick his forehead when his knee's down, I'm not taking that as a loss. But yeah, I want to see him do well. I think he's talented. I don't know if he's talented enough to beat Trout. But yeah, I'm rooting for him. I hope he does well. At least make it a competitive fight. So we shall see. He's a nasty dude.
Yeah, and part of the reason why I bring that up as well, because I was reading in a BKFC article off of their website that you're very obviously locked in for this fight, but that you wouldn't mind getting, a couple wins together and then getting back on that trajectory that you look to be on for a title shot. And just with Andrew fighting someone who is in that moment as well, I'm just curious to get or both of your thoughts rather, on just like what this fight could do in terms of like what a win could do in terms of where it puts you in the welterweight hierarchy. Because it would seem like the winner of this one would be very well positioned in the division for sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Well, actually, I this will be my first fight at welterweight, and I took the fight because after 9 months, between fights, I gained more weight than I ever had before. So my manager did me the solid of not having to cut 30 pounds, between fights. So I actually have no desire to stay at 165. I'm gonna fight this fight. I already knew I wanted to at least have one fight in a second division. I wasn't sure if I was going to cut down to 45 or in this case, up to 65. So, I want to bang it out with Dustin and then go back down to 155 because I got some unfinished business down there with some people. So I'll let Dustin get his get back with Trinidad or whoever wins their fight, and then I don't plan on fighting 65. Oh, yeah, I mean, I say that now, but I don't know. Who knows? Who knows how much fun we have next month? I might want to see her out. But as of now, I want to go back to 55 because I got some unfinished business I got to take care of.
Yeah, and just what about for you, Dustin? Like, how much could a win here, I guess, vault you towards that path of getting the championship shot? Because you seem to be on that trajectory before the last fight there and everything.
Yeah, and that was a very upsetting loss for me because that was the title contention fight. So I was right where I wanted to be, and then snapping my jaw 13 seconds in the first round was not what I planned. But everything happens for a reason. It's just a small setback, but obviously, as a competitive person, and most fighters should have that desire to be the best. Uh, I'm hearing that I string together 2 wins, and that puts me back to where I was. So, and like I said, I don't like to look too far ahead of myself. My focus is against Andrew and gearing up for that and being the best I can be for Andrew. And then we'll see where it goes, man. I mean, there's so many other factors that play into this game, So I'm just gonna let God guide my footsteps, and we'll see where it takes me.
Yeah, and you got to be your best for the Mexico vacation as well.
Absolutely, yeah. That's that's close to the top of my priorities here. Like a week and a not major surgery the next morning and miss my flight. We're real close to the top there.
But yeah, I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't get maybe some more specifics from you, Andrew. Like, what represents unfinished business at lightweight for you?
Yeah, I want to hear
Uh,
this.
yeah, I just I was already called out by my last opponent, War. He wants to run that back, and then I feel like there's Nate already told me there's more opportunity for a title shot at 55 than there would be at 65. Like I've already fought 5 times at that division, so I've already kind of my name's already in the hat. Kind of the same boat Dustin's in. Rack up a couple more wins, and I'm right back in there. Like I said, I haven't lost yet at 155. So I just feel like I've already established myself in that division. So I want to go back down there. And then, like I said, there's just I feel like I'm definitely a bigger, stronger guy in that weight class. Whereas, at 165, I'm giving up height advantages to people that, it just doesn't make any sense for me to stick around and give people advantages unnecessarily. So.
And I don't think I got any insights into this. I mean, there could be not really necessarily a lot to it per se, but just the hiatus you were on, like from the previous KnuckleMania last year, like what was going on there? I presume you would have wanted to get out there and compete sooner, but
I mean, I bought in it actually to the gym that I'm in here in town. I'm part owner now of the gym. I started focusing more on the amateurs. I run the boxing program here in Barstow, so I got really heavily involved in the coaching side. Business ownership. Obviously, being in camp and training. It takes a lot of time away from the wife and kids and stuff. So it allowed me to kind of refocus. I just wasn't sure that I wanted to keep going, but stepping away from it for those 9 months kind of sparked the flame, made me miss it again. And then, being in the corner of my guys, as they're fighting kind of kept me in the game, but not from the, perspective of taking the beatings, but I started missing it, and then I started training again. Plus, I broke my finger in that fight, and it took like 2 surgeries to get my finger back together. So that set me back about 6 months, just having a rod holding my finger together, and it was just it gets a little discouraging when you're dealing with injuries, and especially ones that prevent you from actually training, and you're like, all right, well, um, but it kind of just gave me the reset I needed, made me miss it again, made me want to be in the gym again, and then of course, I started getting back into shape, and then that's when I told my manager, I was like, hey man, I want to fight again. And then 3 days later, he calls me. He's like, hey, man, you said you want to fight? Yeah. All right. I got you fighting, March 21st in Philadelphia. And he told me the name. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've seen that guy fight. I was like, that'll be fun, so that's where we're at.
Oh yeah.
yeah, you're gonna get Barstow standing up like from a distance, but still.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, man. I mean, obviously, going to the East Coast, I always have Barcelona shorts and stuff. And plenty of people, already telling me that, they're throwing fight parties and this and that, and they're excited for me. They always are. Barstow is a small town out here, but small town, big support. Like I said, I'm the only professional fighter in this town, so what I do, speaks for the whole, for the whole city, and I get to be the influence, the positive role model, for the youth program out here, and it's just awesome, man. Like I said, I got the city on my trunks, and on my back, so it's just exciting. It allows me to go into these fights, understanding it's way bigger than me. You know what I mean? It's not like an arrogant look at me type deal. It's like look at us. You know what I mean? And win, lose or draw, my city's got my back, and so it just keeps the motivation flowing.
And the thing that I love about this fight too is like both of you guys are just very casual in the sense of there's no like contrived like put on rivalry component. You're both like dedicated family men from what I can see and just great fighters. So just on the pure just action level and what the fight could promise in that sense, it's just great stuff. I think that just matchmaking itself speaks volumes for sure.
Yeah, and I appreciate Andrew's class act here because I've never been that type of fighter to disrespect my opponents or like come up with this fake beef, to sell tickets. Like our fight's gonna
Right.
people seen us fight. Our names are just enough to sell tickets. Like I'm a professional in this sport, just like any other professional sport. You don't see those guys acting like clowns. And if they do, they get fined or they get cut or crazy stuff happens. And I just always think that style of attitude it's corny to me. I have a respect for Andrew. I have a respect for the sport. And also I'm a father of 3 kids and I want them to, look back and be like, wow, dad was a respectful, cool dude. Like not, hey, look at him spitting on that guy and smacking him in the face. Like that's not what I want to represent. So I appreciate other guys like Andrew that have a family and have a youth program that he wants to inspire. So I appreciate that, and it's really cool.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Andrew? Similar sentiment, perhaps?
No, 100% same page. I'm a father of three as well. And well, technically, I also have a grandson. He'll be what, three in a couple weeks in a week. But yeah, I'm a family man. Married, kids. Run the youth program out here. And I've been very transparent about my story, right, where I come from. Jails and rehabs and all that, living sober now. So to me, it's been very important. Anytime I've had the opportunity to, have a microphone or anybody, I get to share my story. It's not to bash the guy in front of me. It's like, we're going to take care of business. We sign a contract, we'll put on a hell of a show. And then, if given the opportunity to speak, I want to make sure I'm speaking some level of, inspiration and give some type of hope, basically I do my best to be the example that, I looked for, right? And so now I get to have a platform to do this, and like Dustin said, there's no reason to be ignorant and disrespectful. And that's some guys like marketing scheme, I guess. My theory has always been like their skills don't get the job done, so they got to try to make up for it with their mouth. And I guess for some people that works. It's just never been, my get down. And at the end of the day, it's irrelevant what I say. If I were to bash this guy and all that, and then he whoops my ass on Fight Night, I guess none of that talk would have mattered anyways, right? So to me, it's like, no, man, let's take care of business, give the fans the main event quality fight that we both promised to bring, and then the rest will it's in God's hands.
I feel like that's such a great sentiment that we could even kind of end things off on here for sure. But I figured I'd also give each of you the floor in case you guys had final thoughts you were maybe wanting to add as we're kind of wrapping up here. I appreciate both of you making the time to be here today for sure.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having us. It's always a pleasure. Anytime you want to do something, just give me a shout. But as always, like Andrew was saying, with a platform like this and the stage that we are on, I always like to just thank God. He has blessed me in so many ways that I'm so grateful for. Definitely so many things I just don't deserve to. I'm a screw up like most humans. I slip up, I fail constantly, and God's always good to me. So I'm grateful for him and my healthy, wonderful family and all the great people he put in my life. All the Bang Barn boys, I love y'all. Uh, and yeah, I'm just excited to put on a show for people, and I'm excited Andrew's on that same page. So let's get it, baby.
Sure.
And what about for you, Andrew? Any final parting thoughts that you were maybe wanting to add as we're kind of wrapping up here? I mean, it's fine if you don't, but I usually like to give people the floor in case they do.
No, I feel like I just gave my TED talk on my last one. I feel like I made all my points. Made. I'm excited for the fight. It's I got a worthy opponent in front of me. And I definitely want to make sure that we give the BKFC and all the fans that main event quality fight that I believe we both stylistically promised to bring. I've heard him say in one of his past fight interviews that he likes to plant his feet and bang, and so do I. So, I'll definitely be your Huckleberry for this one. And yeah, let's get out there and let's give him hell. And let's yeah, let's just do our thing.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, it's certainly a fight that really jumps off of a poster. I was messaging both of you to try to set up this Bare Knuckle Bowker dual interview right when I saw the fight announced, pretty much. So I'll certainly be checking things out, BKFC Philly on March 21st. And yeah, hopefully I'll be there live in person as well. I mean, we'll see what pans out with that, but I'll be checking it out in any event. And yeah, thanks again so much to both of you for coming on Bare Knuckle Bowker today. Stoked to check out the fight soon. And yeah, both of you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dylan. Take care.
Likewise. Thank you, guys.